Rain hammered the windshield as Ethan Ward's black Bentley swerved into the curb. "Stop here!" he barked at the driver. Through the blur of the storm, he had caught a glimpse. His usually silent son, Caleb, standing under a rust-streaked awning, laughing. Ethan had never heard that sound burst so freely from the boy's throat. He threw open the car door, rain slicing across his tailored suit, and rushed toward the sound. Under the awning sat a blind woman, her face lifted toward the falling rain, pale eyes unfocused, yet peaceful. Her fingers danced over a small keyboard, balanced on her lap. Caleb clapped in rhythm, repeating the notes she played. "Caleb?" Ethan's voice cracked sharper than intended. The boy flinched. The woman turned her head slightly, unfazed. "Is he yours?" she asked softly. "Yes," Ethan snapped. "What are you doing with my son?" "I'm teaching him to listen," she said, her tone calm, almost melodic. "He wasn't afraid of the rain, so I thought he might not be afraid of music either." Ethan hesitated. The keyboard hummed with the echo of her touch. Caleb's small hand rested near hers, fearless. Something in that image disarmed him. The woman smiled faintly. "He's special. He feels sound the way some people feel sunlight." "What's your name?" Ethan asked. "Maya," she said. "Maya Brooks." Ethan exhaled, rain dripping from his hair. "You shouldn't be out here with a child in this weather." "I could say the same to you," she replied, and turned back to the keys. Caleb giggled again, and the sound broke through Ethan's irritation like light through smoke. Later that night, in the quiet of his mansion, Ethan replayed the moment in his mind. Caleb had been withdrawn for months. Therapists, tutors, specialists. No one had reached him. Yet a blind woman on a street corner had done what millions couldn't. The next morning, he returned to the same spot. Maya sat on a bench, tapping her cane lightly against the pavement as children gathered around her. She was telling them a story about colors she could no longer see but remembered through sound. When she noticed him, her head tilted. "The man with the worried footsteps?" she said. "Back again?" He almost smiled. "I'd like to hire you to work with my son." "I don't work for money," she answered. "Only for meaning." "I can give you both," he said. Maya hesitated, then turned her blind eyes toward the children's laughter. "Meaning isn't bought, Mr. Ward," he said. "Ethan Ward." The name hung in the air. She didn't react, but something in her expression flickered. Perhaps recognition, perhaps pain. "All right, Mr. Ward," she murmured. "If your boy wants me to teach him, I'll teach him. But I don't change who I am for anyone, not even a billionaire." For the first time in years, Ethan laughed. "I wouldn't dare ask you to." Maya's first visit to the Ward estate left her momentarily speechless. Not that she showed it. She heard it instead, the way the marble floors echoed, how the air hummed with distance. Money made everything sound hollow. Caleb ran ahead of her, guiding her cane over the steps with small, eager hands. "This way, Miss Maya," he said quietly, his voice soft but steady. Ethan followed a few steps behind, watching the impossible, his son leading someone instead of hiding behind him. "You two seem to understand each other," he said. "We speak the same language," Maya answered, tracing her fingers along the edge of the piano in the living room. Silence. Ethan looked at her, intrigued. "You talk about silence like it's a friend." "It is," she replied. "It tells me what people try to hide." The next few weeks changed the rhythm of the house. Each morning, Maya arrived with her small keyboard and a smile that felt like sunlight slipping through closed curtains. Caleb's progress stunned everyone. He began talking more, small words at first, then full sentences. He even laughed during lessons. Ethan found himself watching them more than he meant to. One evening, as Maya guided Caleb's hands over the piano keys, Ethan caught the faint trace of a lullaby she hummed. He froze. He had heard that tune before, years ago, in another life, played by a waitress at a dimly lit charity gala. He could still remember her laugh, the way she looked at him like he was just a man, not a fortune. The night that blurred into dawn, and then he never saw her again. "Where did you learn that song?" he asked suddenly. Maya paused. "It's an old one, from when my world still had color." He nodded, unsure why his chest felt tight. Later that night, his assistant found him in the study. "Sir, you wanted updates on the music teacher?" Ethan frowned. "I said background, not surveillance." "She's clean," the assistant replied, then hesitated. "But she's had a rough life. Lost her sight in a factory explosion years ago. Worked at a facility once owned by one of your subsidiaries." Ethan's pen stilled. "My company?" "Yes, sir. She was compensated, but the payout was small. She was a single mother then. Had twin boys. One she kept, one she gave up for adoption. Hard times, I guess." The words sliced through him. "Twin boys?" "What happened to the one she gave up?" Ethan asked. The assistant shrugged. "No idea. The records were sealed." Ethan turned away, heart pounding. His eyes drifted toward the staircase, where faint laughter echoed from Caleb's room. 2 boys. Same age. Same lullaby. He felt the air leave his lungs. It couldn't be. Ethan couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Maya's face and heard that song drifting through his house. At dawn, he was in his office, fingers trembling as he scrolled through the old adoption files that he had never looked at closely before. Caleb's record had a gap, the section blurred by time and bureaucracy. He called the agency director. "I need the original paperwork for my son," he said. "Mr. Ward, those are sealed records. "I own the company that funded your agency," he interrupted. "Find them." An hour later, the file sat on his desk. The name of the birth mother blurred at first glance, then sharpened as his eyes adjusted. Maya Brooks. He dropped the paper. Outside, the city light still flickered against the morning fog, but Ethan felt as if every lamp in the world had gone dark. When he walked into the music room that afternoon, Maya was already there, her hand resting lightly on Caleb's shoulder as the boy played the new melody she'd taught him. "That's beautiful," Ethan managed to say. Maya smiled toward the sound of his voice. "He's getting braver. You should be proud." "I am," he said quietly, then forced himself to breathe. "Maya, can we talk?" She nodded, setting her cane aside. "I found something today," he said, "about your past, and about Caleb." Her brow furrowed. "My past? What do you mean? You mentioned once that you had twins." She stiffened. "Yes. One I had to give away. I couldn't feed both. Why?" Ethan's throat felt raw. "Caleb, he's the child you gave away." The room went silent except for the metronome ticking beside the piano, and Maya's fingers tightened on the keys. "That's not funny," she whispered. "I wish it were," he said. "I just confirmed it. The agency hid the records. I didn't know when I adopted him. I swear to you I didn't know." Her face was drained of color. "You're saying the boy I've been teaching, my student, is my son?" He nodded, tears stinging his eyes. "And mine too. I didn't realize until now. We knew each other years ago. A charity gala. You played that same lullaby." Maya's lips parted in shock. "That night?" she breathed. You're the man from that night." He stepped closer, but she turned away, her voice breaking. "You took everything from me. Your company's explosion stole my sight, and now you tell me the child I've dreamed of for years is living under your roof." "I never meant to hurt you," he said. "I didn't even know." "Intentions don't bring back sight," she snapped. "They don't give back the years I sang to an empty crib." Caleb looked between them, confusion clouding his small face. "Miss Maya?" he whispered. She knelt beside him, trembling hands finding his cheeks. "It's okay, sweetheart," she said, forcing a smile through tears. "It's more than okay." Ethan sank to the floor opposite them, the weight of truth pressing the air from his chest. For the first time in his life, he didn't know how to fix what was broken. Days passed in aching silence. Maya didn't return to the mansion. Caleb asked for her every morning, his small voice slicing through Ethan's guilt. He spent hours staring at the adoption papers, wondering if he'd already lost both of them. The woman he had unknowingly broken, and the child whose laughter had finally brought him peace. One rainy afternoon, he stood outside the community center where they had first met. Inside, he heard the faint notes of a piano. Maya was there, teaching again, her movements gentle but distant. "Maya," he said softly. She paused. "Mr. Ward." "You don't have to call me that," he murmured. "Not after everything." Her fingers stilled on the keys. "I don't know what to call you. You were a stranger, then a savior, then the ghost of everything I lost." "I'm trying to be better than that ghost," he said. "I can't give you back your sight, but maybe we can rebuild what life took from us." "You mean what you took," she corrected quietly. But there was less venom this time, only exhaustion. He nodded. "Then let me start there. I've reopened the factory claims. Every victim, every worker, they'll be compensated properly. And for you, I want to fund your program. No strings, no ownership, just your name on the door." She shook her head slowly. "You can't buy forgiveness." "I'm not trying to," he said. "I'm trying to earn it." Behind him came the patter of small feet. Caleb ran through the door, followed by another boy, Noah. The twins froze when they saw each other, then broke into identical smiles. Without hesitation, they embraced, giggling as if they'd always known. Maya covered her mouth, tears spilling over. "I dreamed of this," she whispered. Ethan's voice cracked. "Now it's real." She reached for him, her hand finding his arm. "Maybe we're all learning to see in our own way," she said. Months later, sunlight filled the new Hope Through Sound music school. Maya stood by the piano while the twins played a duet that echoed through the hall. The crowd applauded, but Ethan barely noticed. He was watching her, the woman who had turned his empire of guilt into a home of grace. When the last note faded, Maya turned toward the sound of clapping. "I can't see them," she said softly, "but I can feel they're smiling." Ethan took her hand. "They are. We all are. Sometimes life blinds us, so we can finally learn what truly matters. Forgiveness, family, and the courage. What about you? If life gave you a second chance to make things right, would you take it? Tell us your answer and the moral lesson you learned from this story in the comments below. There's always a lesson in every story, and sometimes it's closer to our own lives than we think. Like, share, and subscribe to Fortune Rise Stories, where every story reminds us what really matters.